name is Dean Thompson, and welcome to another Escape to Gaming. Today I'm going to be talking about Aliens Colonial Marines. Now this is a game that, most likely you've already heard about. Unfortunately, you've probably heard some of the mixed reviews on it, which is unfortunate. But anyway, I wanted to take the time and the care to tell you what I think is going on with the game, what I like about the game, what I think are valid complaints about the game, and also about the mixed reviews on the game itself. So here it is. First off, I'm a huge Aliens fan. Now, I saw the very first Alien movie that Ridley Scott did back in '79 and loved it. Saw it 3 times at the theater, a very intense survival horror film. In '87, I went back and saw Aliens. Naturally, was very excited. It actually kind of departed from the survival horror that was masterfully done, which is my favorite, the first one, and it was more of an action, oriented sci-fi horror, and it worked well. James Cameron did a fantastic job. The director's cut, extended versions, even better, filled with a lot more things that he wanted to show in his original concept of that movie. That film obviously has been copied and emulated with movies, with video games, and it's a fantastic franchise. I actually got to work for 20th Century Fox at the time they were redoing the ending of Aliens 3, and I even liked that one. And the fourth one. The fourth one's kind of a mixed bag for me, but it did some interesting things right in it, and it had some fascinating concepts that tied in the whole Alien story. So I'm a huge fan. I even have original H.R. Giger books from 1979 that are probably worth $500 today. So I've got tons of time invested in the Alien franchise. I mean, I bought the VHS, and I bought the widescreen VHS, and I bought the DVDs and the special edition DVDs. Now I've got the Blu-rays. So I put a lot of time into this. I pre-ordered the special Aliens Colonial Marines Collector's Edition as well. So I'm just trying to establish that I'm a major diehard Aliens fan, and I know there's many of you out there that feel the same way. So naturally, this is very high expectations on a game like this. So first off, to tell you, this is a game that I've been following early on. Now, I've heard some people say it's been in development 6 years or 5 years. I'm not really completely sure, but I've been following it actually for a few years now, and I know that it's had difficulty in development. We've got at least 4 studios that have gone into making it. So right off, like Duke Nukem Forever, you know that it's a troubled game from the start. It's gone through lots of changes. You got different development teams doing the multiplayer versus a single player. So I have reasonable expectations on a game like this. And I also, because I worked and started off in marketing and advertising before I get into the motion picture industry, I did a lot of photo retouching and setting copy and designing compositions for ads and doing a lot of thumbnails and renderings for advertising. So I know advertising and marketing is all about showing the very best side of any movie, game, automobile. You always want to show it in its best light. So I don't have this kind of an evil empire, oh, that Gearbox, they screwed us on this one. I think that's frankly, it's unrealistic, and I don't think that helps anyone at the end of the day. Naturally, we all want the best. If I have a choice between watching, let's say, Aliens on DVD or watching it in a pristine Blu-ray, I'm naturally going to watch it on the Blu-ray. So we all want the best. I validate everyone's concern about wanting to immerse himself with the best possible graphics, but I think this game had to come out now. I also really feel very strongly that Sega pushed Gearbox to get this game out the door. We have a new console, actually a couple new consoles coming out real soon. If this game didn't come out now, it wouldn't be made. So I think the world is a better place with this game. It has its flaws, it's not perfect. But I'll tell you what I like about the game first. So where Aliens Colonial Marines gets it right is it really captured the authentic spirit of the Aliens movie that James Cameron did. The LV-426 planet, the spaceship that you come in, all of the spacecraft that you enter the planet with, all of the the landing craft that you actually see in the film. The corridors, the set pieces are very authentic. Aside from the incredible sound design that 20th Century Fox let them use in making this game, the sound of the pulse rifles is incredible. A very high quality. I give it a very good rating just for sound design alone. The sound of the aliens, the face huggers, the stuff that you hear, that is where the survival horror part really comes into play. The audio in this game, I think, is exceptional. The voice acting is not bad. Some of the script writing on it could probably be a little bit more polished overall, considering the kind of the grand scope of the story that they were trying to convey within the chapters of the game. But I think it really did a great job in giving the feeling of being in the spaceships, down on the planets, infiltrating even the derelict spaceship that was in the very first Alien movie, as well as Prometheus, which in fact, I just watched it the other night on Blu-ray after seeing it at the theater, is fantastic. They really got that right. The lighting effects, just the mist, a lot of the set pieces are incredible. They really did a wonderful job with that. If you're an Aliens fan, for no other reason, you've got to play the game just to see and kind of go through it, kind of like an interactive experience with being in the film. So if this game wasn't made, it would really be a disaster. I think that we'd be missing out on a great experience, because I don't think now that it's going to be redone. I think this is probably the only shot at this. And I'm not talking about Alien versus Predator. That's a separate spin-off. To me, it's like Batman fighting Spider-Man. It kind of cheapens both characters. Nothing against... Now, I have both of the Alien versus Predator movies on DVD and I've watched them, but I'm not a huge fan of that. In fact, I wouldn't even play the games, even though I've heard that they're fairly good, including the multiplayer. But I like the original Alien story, and that's where this game gets it right. So again, only for true Aliens fans, it's fantastic. When you can come across Hick's shotgun, and you got Ripley's, she's got a duct tape flamethrower with her original plasma rifle, the assault weapons, everything. The smart gun that you get a chance to use on one of the levels is awesome. It really did a great job of keeping everything interesting and fresh. I think the pacing is very good in the game. Gives you a chance to do a little exploration from time to time, and even looking out the windows at the spaceships or the planets beyond is fantastic. Really good job. I think that the sound design goes beautifully hand in hand with the visuals. Overall, it gives you a great feeling of being in the Alien universe, and it does that very, very good. So returning to the places that you've seen in the films, including that derelict spaceship, again, is just over the top. I mean, it just really, it cinched it for me. A lot of care went into how the aliens come at you and approach you, and I've heard people complaining about it, but I think that they look very, very good. They're very detailed. Obviously, the PC version's even better. Now, I got the Xbox 360, supposedly the bad port of it, but it really looks pretty good. There's some strange screen tearing in the very opening cutscenes for some reason, and then it's not as bad. I've noticed that throughout the rest of the game, you'd see a little screen tearing, but really nothing worse than I've seen in a lot of other, even AAA games. People have said that it's a little buggy. Frankly, I don't see the bugs not near as bad as Assassin's Creed 3, or even some of the really bad little strange and even humorous glitches that I have seen in Max Payne 3. But again, that doesn't mean that, Assassin's Creed 3 or Max Payne 3 are bad games or you can't have a great time in them, because you certainly can. It's the same dynamic with this. What brought this game down are ridiculously high expectations. The game is a good game, and I would say for Aliens fans, it's a great game. I like everything from the menu designs are very nicely done. You've got some really cool upgradable weapons, and just even they introduced new weapons into the Alien story and universe, but they fit the environments well. They fit the whole feeling of being a Colonial Marine very well. The way you can upgrade them is really cool. By unlocking and finding the collectibles and these special signature legendary weapons that are kind of hidden here and there throughout the levels. And there's some really cool Easter eggs. Some of them are funny, some of them are more serious, but again, there's just lots of really cool things to discover and uncover in your journey through this Aliens Colonial Marines. The game does, in my opinion, too many things right to offset any minor graphical issues. Now, to be perfectly honest, I'm going to discuss the elephant in the room, which is the graphics. Now, the graphics, to be truthful, considering the troubled development of the game, are a little dated. But they aren't really that bad. I think that the lighting effects kind of compensate for some of the low-res textures. You look at some of the walls in the spaceship, or the lockers, or some computer monitors and control panels and things like that are a little low-res with the textures. You get up close to some of the buttons you hit to unlock a door. They obviously have kind of a low-res look to them, but not near as bad as other games that I've seen. But what they did that compensates for it is a fantastic dynamic lighting and really a nice attention to detail with the environments. the way the aliens have altered the environment, all of that is very well done. A lot of care and time went into the aliens themselves, and how they look, how they move, how they come at you is very intense. Now, my only initial downside with the game, to be perfectly honest with you, when I first put it in, the first hour, hour and a half or so I played it, was I was a little bit dismayed with just the faces of the characters themselves. The characters move okay. They're a little stiff overall at times, but the faces have kind of a cartoony look to them. Even some of the ones you see up in the alien webbing and the walls and stuff, just really, they could have put a little bit more realism into it. Other than that, that's my only complaint. I think the gameplay is solid. The AI works well. Now, the AI is inconsistent at worst. That's the worst thing you really can say about it. There are times where the enemies, whether the humans or the aliens, are very accurate and will come right at you and nail you real quick, and you can die relatively fast. Or other times where it seems you can kind of breeze right by them and get to the next checkpoint. So I understand some of the validations and complaints that people have with the graphics, certainly, but gameplay-wise, it's not that bad. It's just, again, even the gameplay is just dated. It's like if you eat steak every single day, then you don't appreciate it anymore. We've had so many barrage of FPS games and third-person shooters for so long now that many of us just don't really appreciate the positive dynamics of a game like Aliens Colonial Marines. To me, the complaining that we're seeing today with a game like Aliens Colonial Marines is, it's almost like going out for a steak dinner. Now, you have an option right then and there. You can go out and know you're going to have a great time and just kind of take the good with the bad and make the best of it. You know you're paying good money for it. Certainly you deserve to have a good time and a good quality service and meal. But let's say the baked potato is awesome and the steak itself is fantastic, but maybe the salad dressing's a little off, something's wrong with the blue cheese, or the rolls were a little stale. Are you going to, at that point, demand your money back? Oh, this restaurant's crap, I'm never coming back here again, that kind of a thing? Or are you going to make the best of it and have a good time and enjoy yourself anyway? Well, that's kind of the same thing with this game. It's not perfect, but it does so many good things right that it, in my opinion, genuinely offsets any minor graphical errors or gameplay issues of uneven gameplay. So again, this review is a single player only. I haven't played the multiplayer. Now, I have 3 friends of mine that love the multiplayer. I have a total of 5 friends of mine that actually enjoyed the single player campaign. So now the day after the game came out, I looked at game trailers, gave it a 5.9 in their review. But ironically, the user score on the game was an 8.7. Now, right before I did this review, I checked the game trailer's user score. It went down to an 8.4. That's still pretty damn good. That tells you people that have bought the game, actually spent their money on the game, are having fun with the game. So, and again, the feedback I'm getting from my friend in Florida, New York, another friend in Australia that's playing it, they love the game. And the first night, before the game was officially released, before the barrage of negative reviews on the game, I saw 5 really positive reviews. Now again, a couple of those guys, even within the positive reviews, they said they loved it and they gave the reasons why, similar to my own. They did mention some of the gameplay elements and kind of what they considered a mediocre FPS game we've seen 100 times before, and that may be true. But again, because you're bored with games doesn't mean that it's a bad FPS experience. It just, now the game doesn't innovate with any new, really cool gameplay elements that we see in many, really cool games. I mean, you got this new Destiny game coming out. You got this amazing looking, Dead Space 3, which I haven't played yet, but the graphics on that look fantastic. So, if you have a choice between Aliens, Colonial Marines, you just want like a sci-fi game to play, well, you might want to just wait and for the Destiny game, or just go out and buy Dead Space 3 and have a wonderful immersive time, that kind of survival horror. So, to me, it's not a bad game because it didn't meet my expectations of being true survival horror for Aliens fans. I mean, frankly, I liked Resident Evil 1 and 2 way more than Resident Evil 4 and 5, as good as they are as action kind of horror games. I've played Resident Evil 4, I've played, for hours at my nephew's house. He loves the game on the hardest level, has mastered it, and I see why he likes it, and it is fun. The graphics are cool, the gameplay is intense as hell, but I still prefer the survival horror. Yeah, the Aliens game, it could have been more of a survival horror like the very first Alien, where you really only need one of them to scare the hell out of you. But I think that what it did, it's a perfect balance between an action game and survival horror. It's good pacing. There's plenty of areas in it that are intense as hell and scary. really creepy. I thought I was going to have a heart attack on a couple levels of the game. And there are other parts where, you feel like you're just in a standard FPS game, which happens to be within the Alien universe. So it does a pretty good marriage of that. My only complaint, again, was that some of the characters just looked a little cartoon-like, could have been a little bit more realistic, but it still is great. Once you get past the first hour and a half of the game, you really get into it, and the room's dark, the surround sound's cranked up. This is a wonderful experience. I wouldn't pass up on it if you're an Aliens fan. Now, the mixed reviews are unfortunate in the game. They borderline, to me, in my personal opinion, of being almost downright irresponsible to label it a bad game. It's not a bad game. In fact, I would say it's a good game for FPS, fanatics who just want a solid FPS experience. It's a good game. It's probably average, an average score. But if you're a die-hard Aliens fan, it's a great game because it does so much right to sink you into the immersion of the Alien universe and story that many of us love. So in that respect, it's very good. I think that that's a point that's missed by many of the mainstream reviewers. You can see there a couple of them who I really like and respect very much, who you could see they were kind of uneasy even reviewing the game. I noticed, I've lived on the planet 50 years. I have kind of a knack for reading between the lines and seeing what's going on. I think that people like many dynamics and elements of the game, but frankly, they're afraid to say they like it because it's almost like yelling fire in a crowded movie theater. Everyone panics, oh, that's it, the game is crap, this game's no good, it sucks, and you can just see the barrage of hate, negative comments. People love to troll a game like this. They love to find anything. It's like when it's like people like to see a street fight. The minute there's a fight, no one breaks it up initially. They want to see the bloodbath. They want to see, it's like sharks surrounding a bunch of people that are bleeding in the water. That's what I see with this game. This game is one of the worst, in my opinion. Again, this is just my perception of, being on the planet 50 years, gaming over 35 years, and believe me, I played Alien and Aliens on the C64, Aliens again on the PS1, Alien 3 on, I can't remember what system it was, and an arcade Alien game. So I've been around the Alien games. I've seen good ones, I've seen bad ones, I've seen easy ones to play, and I've seen really very tough and challenging ones. This game is, in my opinion, not counting the AVP game, which is that's kind of an offshoot, this is the truest Alien game that we have to date. Thank God it's here. Again, it's not perfect, but it does many things right that make it a great experience for Aliens fans. I would not pass up on it if you're a fan of the franchise. As far as their negative reviews on it, it's unfortunate. Everyone's entitled to their opinion. That's why I started this show, was to counter some of these grossly negative opinions. Now, I've played bad games. I mean, back on the C64, back then we didn't have the internet or a lot of gaming mags. I mean, quite often, you have to pay $40, which today would be like paying, frankly, like $120 for a game. So games have never been cheaper than they are today, even though everyone whines about how expensive they are. Naturally, we want games as cheap as possible. And if you want a game like Aliens, you don't feel like paying $60. Believe me, wait, the price will drop and you'll get it. And I think once the dust settles, all the hubbub is down and everyone stops demonizing Randy Pitchford and Gearbox and all that, we'll see it's a good game. It's really not that bad. I think it's way overblown. I've never seen this type of hatred and negative reviews in my life on a game this bad. Now, Duke Nukem Forever I could see because it's so grossly unpolitically correct and it can be quite offensive to some people, especially women. And for that reason, I validate some of the mixed reviews on it. But this game shouldn't do anything to offend anyone. Other than the only guilty thing about the game is the graphics aren't on par with like a wonderful game like Dead Space 3 or Crisis 3 that's coming out real soon here. So that's it. That's the only issues I have with it. Be open-minded enough. Now I'm going to post in the comments below several other links to positive reviews just so you don't think I'm talking out of the side of my head on the game. I really do like the game and think it's very well done. So I hope you felt that this was a fair and honest review. Again, I would not be here telling you it's a great game if I honestly, sincerely didn't think that it was. I really think it's great for Aliens fans, and it's an average game for FPS shooter fanatics like myself. So I try to be reasonable and respect other people's opinions, but I think this particular game has got beat up worse than any game I've seen in recent history, and I think, frankly, it's much more telling of the, quote, jaded gamer today in reviewer than it really is the gaming industry. So, again, it's just my opinion, one man's opinion. one gamer's opinion for whatever it's worth. So I appreciate you taking the time to watch this review. I hope that it was helpful if you are a true Aliens fan, and stay tuned. I'm going to have many more reviews of older games and new ones coming out this year, including other rants. So again, thanks very much for watching, and if you do pick up Aliens Colonial Marines, you'll have a good time with it. Thanks again.